Emergency service providers work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Our main purpose is to save lives.
That's what we train to do.
Somebody dies or somebody gets saved.
For our first responders, the moment the call for help comes in,
4 people in the water from a sunken vessel.
the race against time to save a life begins.
How sick is this patient?
It is a life and death situation.
Through unprecedented access
His body's starting to shut down.
We need to do something quickly.
It is going to be painful.
and intimate interviews,
It'll certainly stick with me.
in this series, we're telling their stories.
It is a privilege to be able to help people. It's not something I ever take for granted either.
To change a patient's outcome feels amazing.
Tonight, high in the South Island's treacherous mountains, a search is on
It's not about us, it's about the family.
for a Swedish hunter missing for 3 years.
We're just obviously looking for any, features that could hide a body.
There's a lot of places to go wrong.
A worst case scenario, widespread starvation of oxygen inside your body, which can result in death.
An urgent mission to rescue a young child with a frightening medical history.
When I got him to the doctors the first time that he got stung, they basically said that he had died.
I just stepped a little too quickly. I slipped and I literally barrel rolled down the rocks. It was about 5 metres.
And a rescue operation in urban Auckland that's not without its risks.
The downwash of a nearly 5-ton helicopter can create a fair bit of havoc.
You've got to be quite careful about deer on the road in southwestern. At night, there's quite often deer on the road. It's unusual if you don't see them. So we're just approaching the Copeland car park and the Karangaroo River's just after it. So he would have been driving along here, excited about going hunting. This is where he parked. So here we are, Karangaroo River. I always stop at the Karangaroo River Bridge, always stop, have a look. And, think, where else could he have been?
Swedish man Hans Christian Tormach, Christian to his friends and family, went hunting in the Karangaroo Valley in May 2017. He told a friend he'd be out by the 17th, and when he became overdue, a search was mounted. But bad weather set in, ending any hopes of finding his remains.
I wasn't involved for the first search, and I spent a lot of time hunting and walking tracks and stuff, and I purposely went up the Karangaroo to have a look, and I stood where he had his photograph, and I was just looking and going, we're going to try and find him.
Yeah, yep, two's probably right. Two's enough, but 3, big man. When they're right.
Now, 3 years after Christian disappeared hunting the goat-like tar, a new search is being mounted in the hope of bringing him home.
So where's he want to stick it? I spent ages looking at Google Earth and satellite imagery, looking at books about tar, and we handpicked the teams.
So can we pick me up again and drop me back in?
Among the 40 searchers are a USAR drone team, alpine cliff rescue experts and dog teams.
So I was contacted initially by another dog handler, and then I was contacted by Sergeant Mark Kirkwood after knowing that I was interested in coming along as a search dog team. I joined Dunedin Landsar, that was probably about 14 years ago now. It was actually a program on TV called The Missing, and I remember seeing a dog team on that program, and then I had Dart, and I was watching some of the other dog handlers and kind of looking at my dog and just thinking, I think this dog has a lot of the attributes they're looking for in a search dog, so I thought I'd give it a go.
She's had a good career so far. She's found 10 people, 5 of them being deceased. All the dogs are really awesome. They all got different abilities and things they're good at.
Emma and Dart are one of 4 dog teams on this operation.
He's an area search dog, so he's finding scent on the wind and not the ground scent. So we train him in both people, articles and cadavers.
Barry and Red travelled 6 hours to help in the search for Christian.
wouldn't you? That's awesome. I don't know, a sense of closure, I guess. Doing something for the community. I'd hate to think that one of my kids was in the bush and never came out. Having that closure is just going to be awesome.
It's a sentiment shared by many.
Exciting. It'd be good to get some closure, especially for the family.
Straight away I was like, I want to get on board on this. So I did some inquiries and asked about, talked to Mark obviously, a few emails, and found my way for the second search.
This is his original campsite just here, and we were on the original search for him, so we found a few notable things. He shot a tar, and we found that in the creek here, and that's where the casings were from. We had a bit of snow to deal with last time round. Hopefully we get a bit of a result in the next 2 days. In search of your son, your brother.
For me, it is that closure of the family and trying to find that missing person.
Mahuta.
I can't imagine what it would be like to have a missing member of your family or a friend that hasn't been found. It would be a lot of questions you'd be asking yourself, and yeah, a lot of pain as well for that family.
I met the mother, and in the second search the daughter. Heartfelt for them. You always want to do your best and bring them home. They were really just stoked that we were even going out there to do this. It was a bit overwhelming for them as well.
You want to do the best for them. It's not about us, it's about the family.
With the packs loaded and the searchers briefed, it's time to head off to the spot where everyone will be choppered into the mountains.
Just being based on the West Coast and had a sort of background in alpine climbing and rock climbing and a lot of time in the outdoors, it just seemed like a good thing to get involved with, just try and kind of contribute to the outdoors community and contribute to the West Coast way of life here. Can't compete with that.
At last, it's time to start shuttling the various teams into the mountains.
So I was one of the team leaders out there, had a great team. Emma and Mike were on board. We had an area we were tasked to search, a section of the area where Hans was, we were hoping, and it was just cover it as best we could, you know, checking everything out we could. And I believe that, you know, the team that we had was great for that.
It's the first time we've met within search and rescue, which is not uncommon. Especially being a dog handler, you end up going to different areas and often getting deployed with local team members. And often they choose those team members because they've got that local knowledge and have that experience as well. So there's a bit of storming and norming you have to do to get the team together, you know, work out what everyone does, is capable of, etc.
The volunteers, everything. It's a big call for them to give up time with family and, you know, to come out at 2 o'clock in the morning, it was pouring rain, to go looking for someone.
Maybe up on the ridge there, if we can find a black spot though.
But the Alpine Craft Rescue guys and girls very skilled. They're Lancer dog handlers and teams. You know, they push themselves out there to try and find people, to bring them home. And without them, we wouldn't operate.
So can this crack team of experts pull off the search? Or will Christian be lost to the wild forever?
Yeah, we're going to set up a base here and then just walk back down there. Yeah.
As the teams arrive in the Karangarua Valley in a renewed search for missing Swedish hunter Christian Tormach, their first job is to follow up on a drone image of what appears to be a stick, the very item Christian was holding in the last photos taken of him.
He was quite a measured, calm individual. He obviously is very close to his friends and family.
The photos were taken by people who, like Christian, had overnighted in the castle hut on the 12th of May 2017. Christian was never seen again.
Not so bad up here.
No, you can see how it flattens off out there.
Yeah, so good.
So we're only going to the base of those cliffs
on the map, and ACR doing all of that hard stuff up the top there.
We haven't got this high on search, I don't think. This is all virgin searching there, really.
So that's that nice basin sitting over there.
Yeah,
it was beautiful over there.
Oh, wow.
And Rob and a couple of other guys went up through the gut up there and right up to the very top.
News has come through that the stick wasn't Christian's walking pole after all. So Nathan's team concentrate on the imposing cliffs above Christian's original campsite.
And Ben found the casings up there, wasn't it?
Yeah, you did.
Somewhere, yeah.
That's like where they are.
Yeah, it's big. I mean, when you first look at it, you could be quite overwhelmed, but you just have to break it down, just work through methodically. And with the time that you're given, what search effort you can do, just do it to the best in your ability, and there's no point in rushing through it if you're going to miss something. You might as well, do the best job you can.
There's always challenges. 3 years later, down the track, what are we going to find? We're not going to find a solid person anymore. We're going to find maybe he had a rifle. We might find something of that. So then we know we're closer.
For Nathan, who helped find Christian's campsite in the search 3 years ago, it's an eerie feeling being back.
It is haunting, and you want to be there though. You sort of know that, right, I'm here, he's got to be here somewhere. He looked like he was having a good time, and he was ready to do what he was going to do, and just wanted to get over and do his hunting. His campsite, knowing that, when we found it, and even though the Kias had destroyed it, I still sit there and think, I can see him sitting here next to that creek, cooking a meal, doing what he was doing. Those images in my head, knowing that he was right there in this area.
You could have come across there, like.
I think it's our only option, eh?
It never leaves. I've always thought about this one. Every time I go past Fox or Friends, it's always looking up that way and thinking, where are you?
Because Christian wasn't carrying a personal locator beacon, this campsite remains his last known location.
Yeah, you can imagine sitting there doing what you do, making a meal, having a drink, looking at the scenery, taking a couple of photographs of the birds and swatting away the cares.
While Dart's clearly keen to crack into more work, higher up, the Alpine Cliff Rescue Team are surveying the challenge ahead.
There's a bunch of animals on this face as I popped up.
3 of us on the team, as we sort of spread out just to kind of get good coverage on the area and look for any clues. Yeah, just to look for evidence that you may have travelled in that environment. And at the same time, in our minds, we're also thinking, okay, if we were based down here in the valley, what route would we be taking? Where would we have gone? What would be a likely course of action for us to have taken if we were in that same environment?
Yeah. Yeah.
When you're looking for a person, you go, now where would I go? Where do you think you'd go? Where are the animals?
Because that's like I could imagine him coming across here, So that's actually pretty.
Like kind of hunting the base of this.
Yeah.
Got to think a little bit laterally and think about what you're seeing may not be exactly what you expect to see. Taking into account the environment, the terrain, the time frame from when the person went missing. The ageing process of articles and missing persons is taking that into account too, and trying to be open-minded to what you are looking for.
While the search continues on land, the drone team continue to scour from the sky.
Sounds like some footage that we did yesterday, that they might have picked something up on.
There's some brief excitement when they spot something that appears to be a pack strap, but on closer inspection, turns out to be foliage.
Excited's not the right word. It's now we're into it. Now we've got somewhere to target. Yeah, we're searching for anything.
You could up anywhere and kill yourself, can't you?
A lot of places, eh? That's what, because we're up above there for a start, yesterday and this morning, and there's a lot of places to go wrong.
Yeah. But it's like you can just trip over here and bang, hit your head, dead.
Crawl, or break a leg, crawl into somewhere.
It's easy for all to see how things could have gone so badly wrong for Christian.
I don't know his personal experiences or capability, but it's extremely challenging terrain, very steep, very slippery, and depending on the conditions, it would be treacherous. Yeah, there was massive chutes and drop-offs, and even I remember the first day it being quite wet, and the tussocks can be quite lethal. Pretty intense area to be in.
As we moved through that terrain, we're just obviously looking for any, features that could hide a body. So looking at holes, looking at any shruns where there's sort of snow separated from the rock, and also keeping in mind that just there's been a change in snow cover and conditions from when Christian was in there in May 2017. I mean, now it's a few years later and we've had a few winters and snow can cover up bodies and snowmelt can move them around. So you're definitely looking and thinking of those thoughts as you're travelling through the environment and thinking about, well, where could this environment hide some clues or hide a body?
These are questions that may never be answered.
Thanks, Team 3. The weather is closing in, so if we can just, we're going to start flying out at 1300 with the drone team first. So if we can just all be ready around that sort of early afternoon, somewhere that can be easily retrieved from.
A weather bomb is on its way, and for the safety of all concerned, it's time to head home.
There's just so many little micro features within the environment that, there could be a body, or, there could be packs or other clues sort of hidden in there that could be really difficult to find. So even you could spend another couple of weeks in there, and there's no guarantees that you would never guarantee that you've covered all of that terrain just because it is so complicated. But within the time window of the search and with the amount of teams in there, I think we've covered a large amount of that area reasonably well.
I know I'd love to go back in there. I'm sure a lot of other people would. You always feel like you've got unfinished business and you want to finish it off. And yeah, I mean, the longer it goes, the harder it gets. But just have to break it down to little blocks and pick away at it and hopefully come up with a result.
For the ones that have been here before, it's devastating. Just a moment. That's what had it. I hate leaving that area.
Pretty gut-wrenched. I was the last one to leave, and when you fly away, it's like, but the safety of your team is paramount.
Rewalker. Yep, 5 School Road, Rewalker.
Some jobs are more urgent than others, and today, the GCH Aviation Chopper Team in Nelson have a potential life and death situation.
Airborne Nelson, good morning.
Good morning, lifted Nelson for Rewalker. 3 POB, estimated flight time 6 minutes, over.
Copy, thank you, 6 minutes to see in 3 POB.
So we're going to a 5-year-old severe anaphylaxis. Got it. All good. Thank you.
The dangers of anaphylactic shock are, a worst case scenario, you can have a number of symptoms including widespread swelling, especially around the neck and the throat. Say it simply, you can have fluid shifts in your body, so you have fluid going from the right place inside your body to the wrong places, which means that the blood carrying oxygen can't get to the cells and organs of your body. And so you can have widespread starvation of oxygen inside your body, which can result in death.
Just next to that pole with your heavy, Brendan. All right. We're all set secure, I guess, eh? Yep, set secure. Clear lift door. Yeah. Okay, lift door's back and locked. Okay, main's well clear, tail's well clear. Cool. Everything? Yeah, maybe.
John, yeah, I might put the monitor on here, and we'll get the patient on monitoring at the ambulance and then bring them on monitoring.
Okay.
Just for the adrenaline.
When we first got there, the ambulance hadn't arrived yet, so we had a bit of time to sort of prepare and wait. But we were met by the patient's mother, who came down to the school.
Has he got stung by a bee?
Yeah, so he's deadly allergic.
Okay, has he been in hospital before with the allergy?
Yeah, every single time.
How bad is his allergy?
First time he died. Second time.
So you had to do CPR on him, or?
The doctors did, yeah.
And that was after a bee sting?
Yeah.
Okay.
The second time he almost ended up on a constant drip of adrenaline.
Yeah, okay.
He's reacted quite well to this one.
So he's doing all right today with the treatment?
So he's only had one shot, I think, so far.
Okay, cool.
And he's reacted really well to that one.
Yep.
Normally he needs a good 3 to 5.
Okay.
So.
Perfect. Actually, what I might do is I might just draw up a adrenaline infusion now anyway while I'm waiting. What's your son's name?
Julian.
Yeah, and he's been in a helicopter before?
Yeah, this will be
He's okay with it?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
His dad's been with him every other time, so...
Yeah.
So the other times he was, like, knocked out on adrenaline, so...
Yeah. Where did he get stung?
On his foot.
Okay. And what symptoms did he have?
So he rashed up.
All over?
Yeah.
Cool. So he's only had the one dose of IM adrenaline. And he's recovered, like, he's improved quite a bit, so I don't even know if we'll need this, but just in case.
Cool. I didn't actually realise she was the mother at first because she was quite calm, which is probably a good thing. And I got a bit of information and a bit of handover from her, and she told me that the child had previous anaphylactic reactions before, one where he needed CPR, which is, you know, the worst case scenario.
Within probably about 2 minutes, he couldn't breathe. When I got him to the doctors, they basically said that he had died, and if I had gotten him there a minute later, there would have been no going back. So it was, we got there literally just in time.
My thoughts are, he's very, very high risk, and when he turns up, he might be very, very sick. So that's when I thought, we should start drawing up some more adrenaline and getting things ready, just in case, and, you know, have that sort of load and go approach.
Oh, they're here. That's sweet. Hello. Thanks for coming. Are you Julian? Hey, Julian, I'm Rob. Hello.
This is going to be in school tomorrow.
Oh, exciting.
School.
We were at Auntie Katrina's, weren't we, Julian? And yeah, he was just walking down the stairs, stepped on the grass and got stung by a bee. We thought it was a prickle, and then went downhill from there, come up with a rash and couldn't breathe properly, so we killed the ambulance.
How you feeling, Julian? Hey, mate. You doing all right? Yeah? You still itchy, or is that better now? Can you poke your tongue out for me? Here we go. Perfect, thank you. That's awesome, thanks so. Thanks for your help.
No worries.
He was quite good. He was looking around, and yeah, he seemed absolutely fine, and we didn't have to do any treatment on him at all. So he was quite lucky. The fact that he had his own EpiPen prior did wonders, which meant that we didn't have to go on and give more medication.
You're coming with us, eh?
Do you want to hop in the back, or are you going to put in the front? What do you?
Doesn't bother me in the slightest. He can hang in the back.
Depends on what the wee guy wants, really.
Yeah, it's fine. The third one.
Even though Julian now seems fine, previous experience has taught Amy and Thomas that hospital's the best place for their son.
He's rebounded a few times once it's worn off, which is what worries me.
The adrenaline wears off a little bit, and then the rash and the hives come back.
Goes back into anaphylactic shock, doesn't he?
Yeah, starts having reactions again.
I put that on? Yeah? Up it over your ears? Yeah? How's that? All good? Can you high five? Yeah.
All set secure, 5 POB. Rightio. You clear behind there? Clear behind? Yep, they're well clear. Right, Tiger traffic at Tail Golf Whiskey's about to lift Rewalker School, and we're heading for Nelson. I'll just lift up, just nose left and head out that way, John. Roger. What status you got there, Rob?
3, please.
Cool. What's that flight time there, Brent? Probably about 10 minutes. All right.
We have a 5-year-old male child. Chief complaint is query anaphylaxis post bee sting. He's received 1 dose of IM adrenaline and he's improved. He's status 3 with normal vital signs. He does have a history of ICU admits. ETA is about 8 minutes and he's to get a pad.
So at this point on, we basically take him to hospital, we keep an eye on him. It's very minimal hands-off treatment for this patient. I think he's coping very well. I think he's become quite used to his condition and he knows what to expect. He knows that he needs to have injections. He knows he might get a helicopter in certain areas or an ambulance. He knows that when he gets to hospital, there'll be lots of people around trying to do lots of things and but quite chaotic. And he reflects how his family is and his parents are quite calm and sort of not stressed out at all, but know exactly what to do.
I'll just get Dad out first. Rob's off comms.
He'll go into the resusc room and he'll be monitored. And they'll do his vital signs like his blood pressure and temperature and all the normal bits and pieces they do. And they'll probably give him more steroids, medications to sort of slow down any sort of secondary allergic response.
Nelson Tower from Hotel Golf Whiskey. We're at the hospital, 2 on board. We'd like to return to the Northern Hangars.
Golf Whiskey, Cedric Northern Hangars, 1,000.
The helicopter crew.
They're amazing. They do their job very, very well. But if it wasn't for them, well, we wouldn't have him, that's for sure.
I think it's just a massive thank you to the awesome job they do, really. We'll be donating from now on because they do a lot of jobs and it's not just this little guy they look after, it's a lot of people they take care of, so you never know when you're going to need help.
Yeah, helicopter people.
It's been a quiet few hours for Coast Guard on Auckland's Waitemata Harbour, but just as the day is coming to a close, the Rescue Alpha crew are called to help a boat in trouble in Te Atatu.
So we didn't have any more particular details other than a kilometre to the east, did we?
Yeah, kilometre to the east, 16-foot bonito.
There's no sign of the boat. Its crew aren't answering their phone, so the team are getting increasingly anxious about where they're headed.
All right, we'll go for a nosy up the river. Okay. Don't really have a lot of choice.
Have you ever seen up here at dead low tide?
No, but it's mud and then a channel.
That's all mud? Wow. That's all mud?
There's only an hour until the tide is fully out, and everyone's picking their target will be stranded on the mudbank, exposed by the departing tide.
It's not a fun stretch of water.
No.
Alpha Christian Tormach. Just confirming, do you guys have the vessel in sight? They've just phoned in. Over.
Maybe. We've got a possible target.
Okay, Roger, thanks.
This has binocs. Have a quick go through them.
That's it?
Yep, that's them. Let me just jump on the radio.
Oh, of course.
Operations Alpha, UHF.
Alpha operations.
Yeah, guys, we're up by number 4 buoy up the river, and we've got a visual on a maroon and white looking bonito. The fact that there are birds standing on the mud bank next to it causes us a bit of an issue in terms of being able to get anywhere near them. To be honest with you, where they're currently positioned, there's actually nothing we can do for them. They are parked up on the chartered bank that dries to a height of 1.1 metres at dead low tide.
We can, if they can walk out and transport them or anything, I'll leave it over to you.
We'll give them a call, have a chat to them and see what we can do with. There are birds standing on the mud bank between us and them.
Hi Stuart, Adam calling from Rescue Alpha. How are you going today? Yeah, so you can see those birds that are in between us? Yeah, those pose the biggest hazard for us to get over to you guys.
On top of their issues, the stranded boat has run out of fuel, something Coast Guard can't transport for health and safety reasons.
I would say drop your anchor at the end of the day. Try to make your way over.
That's affirmative. We've just had a conversation with the owner of the Bonito that is currently high and dry. He is going to put down the anchor and try and make their way over to us across the mudflats.
Now the boat's skipper Rob is on the phone to Adam, desperate to find an alternative solution.
Well, to be honest, I mean, Rob, low tide is at 8:40 and we're at 7:40 right now, so you got another hour before we get to dead low. and then you got another 6 hours before you're high. And do it then, because you could probably find somebody at the wharf to get you out there, because there would be plenty of water just in a little tinny just to get you across. All right, Rob. Cheers, mate. Bye. Nice to see you, mate.
Right, so
we got 2 POB, Stuart and Rob. Rob is the owner. Rob is going to make his way over to us. We'll drop him off at Toyota 2 boat ramp.
Yep.
He'll make his way to get some petrol. Stuart's going to stay on the vessel.
Okay. Yeah, the owner of this Bonito, I think, is finding it a little bit harder going on the mud than he originally anticipated. He's going to head back to the vessel, and we've just been on the phone to him. They're going to lift the anchor and try and drift as much as possible into some deeper water.
Coast Guard will be waiting it out until Rob has his boat sorted, but their plans take a sudden turn.
Vessel has run out of fuel and requires a tow to Te Ata 2. There are 5 persons on board.
Right, so our Bonito with the 2 customers on it, they're not going anywhere anytime soon, unfortunately. We are right at the bottom of the tide at the moment, so the plan is that we've been retasked to another vessel to go that has also run out of fuel. We'll take them back up the Te Ata River, and then once that's done, we'll have a look and see if these guys have got enough water around them for us to get anywhere near enough to them to then take them back up to Te Ata 2 and hopefully finish the Te Ata 2 expedition.
As Coast Guard prepare to tow the boat Relax, Paul spots a possible solution to the first boat's dilemma.
We were in the middle of a job just up by the three green markers on the corner. Where there's a couple of guys in a Bonito, and they got themselves a mechanical issue as well. But they're far too shallow for us to get to in this.
Right.
Does your tender work?
Yes.
Yeah, no issues with it at all? Could we, in the spirit of paying it forward, ask a favour?
Yeah.
And that is that when we get up to the apex, if we can just get the 2 guys off that boat, because they're not going to go anywhere until the tide comes in.
As the evening skies darken, and with the second boat tied to rescue Alpha, it's time to return to Rob's aid.
Hey, how are we going?
Right?
Yeah.
Hey, I can still go?
Awesome. Is that where the spotlight's pointing?
Within half an hour, the skipper of Relax is back with the stranded crew from the first boat. Then it's back to land to deliver everyone home safely.
Here we go.
Helicopters are worth their weight in gold when patients are in hard-to-reach places, and the Auckland Rescue Helicopter team have been dispatched to just such a call-out.
What we knew about the job when we were on our way was a tasking to a gentleman that's fallen off the cliffs around St Heliers Bay, and for us it was a slightly unusual tasking given it was so close into the city, particularly for a rescue job, but not unheard of.
It was a job for the rescue helicopter purely because the location of the patient was around some pretty steep rocks. Unless you're fully able-bodied, almost impossible to walk in and out of there.
What we could initially see was that I believe the patient was sitting up. They had an ambulance crew with them, had managed to access the patient. So immediately we can actually go, we can take a little bit longer and approach this from a slightly different perspective to see how we can then add some value to it.
Wind can make a huge difference to how the helicopter performs, and near cliffs we often get turbulence. You're also looking at the general surrounding. Cliffs are generally fairly unstable places, and the downwash of a nearly 5-ton helicopter can create a fair bit of havoc.
There's lots of people around, there's lots of debris, people's clothes, towels, those sorts of things on the beach. There's houses nearby, there's trees nearby, there's dust.
We quickly realised we were going to have to winch the patient out, but it wasn't necessary to winch the medic in because the medic obviously was fit and able and was able to scramble around the rocks, which is the safer option. So when we landed on the beach a short way away and let Ross out.
And we were able to then walk probably 100, 200 metres to where the patient was. And from memory, it was along the beach where we landed, up some stairs, and then along a small piece of cliff which was quite narrow and quite steep with 4 or 5 metre drop onto rocks below.
We, as a family, were heading down to St Heliers Beach, and we were just keen to get some exercise in the middle of lockdown. Everyone was kind of doing the same walk, just trying to get to the staircase at Achilles Point. It was one of those things where the rocks didn't seem too bad at first, and then as the adventure continued, the rocks got a little higher and they got a little bit more slippery, and so I think I just rushed it a little bit. I just stepped a little too quickly, and in the process of stepping, I slipped, and I literally barrel rolled down the rocks. It was about 5 metres, and I'd lost my glasses, my hoodie was saturated. I had like a gash on my head as I'd come down the rock face, and I was massively grazed on my left side.
I saw Dad like climbing up the little mountain, and then I heard a scream. I look up and I see him fall and like land on his arm and his back.
When the sound of the chopper came, it was amazing. We heard it before we saw it, and then it sort of came round past the staircase and hovered overhead. And honestly, I thought the Thunderbirds had arrived, and the helicopter went away, and they'd actually landed at Ladies Bay, and they put someone out, and he came across the rocks. And his name was Ross, and he was amazing.
When we looked at the options of extricating Dean and whether we put a lifting belt around him and try and walk him out of where we are, you know, Dean was really shaken. He'd had a really hard fall. He'd injured himself. His head, he potentially banged his head as well. And so there's real risk to walking someone up that area. So we decided the safest method to extricate Dean was to do a winch off the rocks.
And I thought, oh my gosh, what do you mean we're going to jump off the rocks?
The Auckland Rescue helicopter has just landed at a beach near St Heliers to help a man who fell while walking along the cliff on a family outing. The medical team are heading to the patient on foot, while pilot James Taylor will deal with the chopper logistics.
If you're below the high tide mark, we're very aware of the tide coming back in again, and so it's very rare for us to shut down once we're on a beach.
While the crew waits for the rescue mission, they're on alert for all potential risks in such a busy location.
When we landed, we noticed we had blown quite a bit of stuff around, so we went out to move those a bit further away, so when we took off, we didn't send them up into the air. People are often very interested when a helicopter turns up, and we often see people coming towards the helicopter, either on the beach or in boats, or in this case, a kite surfer. So before we take off, that's the sort of thing that we have to be very careful that they're not going to cause us a problem, or likely we cause them a problem when we take off.
Critical care paramedic Ross Aitken and intensive care paramedic Casey Drum are figuring out the safest way to winch Dean from the awkward location.
Once we'd made the plan with Dean, his family and ambulance crew, Casey then went back to the helicopter to let them know what the plan was.
He said to me, well, look, we're going to get you up on the helicopter, we're going to harness you up, and then we're going to go and jump off that rock over there. And I thought, oh my gosh, what do you mean we're going to jump off the rocks?
I've made sure that there's no people nearby, that there's no loose objects that are going to get blown onto myself and Dean. You know, you've got 5 tonnes of downwash, so we don't want to be under branches that could fall on us, rocks that are dislodged, all those sorts of things.
Flying close to a cliff can be fairly challenging because you get some strange air currents sometimes coming off the cliffs, which makes it harder to hold a stable hover. And it's obviously very important to be as stable as you can when you're trying to get the winch wire down to the guys on the ground, and even more so as you're pulling off the ground. You don't want them to be swinging around.
I've got the easy part at that stage because I just sit there with my hand out and these guys con the aircraft and the hook into my hand, which is a pretty amazing skill. Once I've got that hook, my job is to hook us on and check we're secure on it and give them a signal as quickly as possible, because it's a reasonably vulnerable stage. If the aircraft needs to move suddenly, we want to be either not attached or attached. We don't want to be halfway in between. And once they get that hook to me, I'm hooking on, checking it, giving them a signal that we're ready to go. They lift off, and once our weight is on the hook, then I recheck our gear, check that we're hooked on, and give them a double thumb to say I've rechecked it and we're good then to be lifted further off the ground. And at that stage, until they've had that second signal, the second thumb, they'll keep us at a height that's survivable.
We jumped off the rocks, and as we did, the helicopter began winching us up and kind of pulled us across, and I guess with the helicopter was trying to get away from the cliff face.
Because it's a cliff and the guys are quite close into the bottom of the cliff, it means that we actually have to lower a lot of winch wire down because the helicopter has to be high up above the cliff to safely get the wire down. So once they're safely hooked on, we start moving away from the cliff.
And they began winching us up. And then they'd drop the helicopter down, and then they'd winch up and then drop the helicopter down. So it was quite weird because you had this motion of going up and then suddenly you're being lowered back down to the water, but you weren't touching the water, and then going back up again.
What they're doing is they're balancing out, winching us close to the aircraft, but they'll also move out from the cliff and bring the aircraft down as the winch is going up. And you can imagine that's a bit of a balancing act, and that's about keeping us as low as they can.
If something goes wrong over the water is a far better place to be than high over the rocky base of a cliff, so we always try and minimise that risk.
All of a sudden I was aware we were getting very close to the helicopter, and they put out, like I've often talked about it as being a little bit like walking the plank backwards. They put out what I thought was a plank, but it was the stretcher system.
I think the really interesting thing about getting patients into our aircraft, the AW169, is we're really fortunate to have an airframe that allows us to put people onto our stretcher. So hoisting people into the aircraft and performing critical care on someone on a stretcher seamlessly. When patients come up to that aircraft, they come in the same every time. Everyone knows what the next step is. It's a choreographed dance, I suppose. And you'll see that when we get up to the aircraft, Glenn will be snapping those safeties onto us really quick. So we've then got an extra layer of safety, and once that's done, we feel quite happy at that stage. The aircraft is away from obstacles. We're hooked onto the aircraft by two means, and then we can look at getting Dean into the aircraft in a safe manner.
When you're actually doing the winch job, you're very focused on keeping the helicopter as steady as you can, so you don't really get the opportunity to enjoy the view of people's beautiful properties, and it tends to be afterwards that you're more aware when you review where you've been, that you think, oh, that was a nice spot to be hovering, and hopefully they got a good view of us as we did of them.
We had a very short transit time to hospital, we're probably talking a minute or two. So it was a matter of making him secure, checking with him, and then going to land at the hospital.
I was lucky in so many ways. Like falling 5 metres, it could have been so much worse. So I had 2 fractures in my wrist that were a little bit tricky, and I also had a fracture in my knee. I was massively grazed, and I'd obviously knocked my head and had an injury there. So initially I was definitely a little bit out of kilter. But within 24 hours, I'd come a long way with kind of head injury and a lot of things like that.
Even if they don't have life-threatening injuries, you know, when you are injured and you have to be extricated from somewhere, it's a really big deal. So it's, I think it's, I describe a normal day for me is going to the worst day of someone's life.
It was quite like freaky to see him in that sort of state on the ground, paralysed or something, but I was just kind of sitting there with my mum watching this all unfold as the instruction team came round. And
kind of like Mission Impossible, so like getting them in the rope and then going up, I'm like, this is some Mission Impossible stuff.
They're the real life Thunderbirds, to be honest.
Thunderbirds, my first question would be which one of the brothers does he think I am? Is it Thunderbird 2? Is it Thunderbird 1? I don't know. But what I would really like is if we get some folding down palm trees at the base. For when we leave, that'd be pretty cool as well.